or leave alone his teeth to knock down that ringmaster, but because of mindset. Today our Prime Minister is also a Sikh. And a thin, wiry Italian female, what it says, climb, and he will climb. Even though the power of the Prime Minister's office is so strong. So the mind is the most important thing, and that's invariably what our Rishi Munis have been saying throughout. And we have extolled it. Unfortunately, some of the things we created for our society have degenerated over time because we didn't have Renaissance. There was a great Rishi called Bhrigu. He once engaged in a debate with another Rishi called Bhardwaj. And what was the debate? How to construct society so that it is stable. Bhrigu said there are 4 sources of power. And these 4 sources of power must be decentralized. So what are these 4 sources of power? Knowledge. 2, weapons. 3, wealth. 4, land. These were identified by Bhrigu as the 4 sources of power. And he said the society, no one should have more than 1 source of power. So those who have knowledge should not have weapons, should not have wealth, should not have land. And he said that is the highest, and he called them the Brahmins. The Brahmin was not born Brahmin. He had to go through and accept that discipline of being a Brahmin. And that's why in Gita also Krishna Bhagavan says that it has got to do with gunas, it's got nothing to do with birth. And that's why Vyasa was born of a fisherwoman. But he became a Maharishi and wrote the Mahabharata. Valmiki was known to be the child of Dalit parents. He became a Maharishi and wrote the Ramayana. Similarly, Kalidasa was the greatest poet we produced, and he was a hunter. The greatest Rishi or Rishi of Rishis was Vishwamitra. His parents were Kshatriyas. And Brahmins, as is now the British propaganda which we have swallowed, says that they are the people whom above the law. That's not true. If you break the law, Brahmins were punished. Ravan was a Brahmin. This Karunanidhi did not know for many, many years. So he used to celebrate Ravan Leela, saying that Ravan is a Dravidian and Rama is an Aryan. And by fraud he defeated him. And so they celebrate for many, many years. They celebrated Ram Leela and debased Ram. Anyway, soon enough, I was one of the factors in it. Karunanidhi learned that Ravan was not, in fact, a non-Brahmin, but in fact he was a Brahmin. He was a great Pandit of Samaveda. And so he stopped holding Raman Leelas. He still debases Ram, says all kinds of awful things. When I was arguing Ram Setu case in Supreme Court, he said, who's this Swamy to call this Rama Setu? Was Ram an engineer? Which engineering college did he go to? The next day he fell ill. He was admitted to Ramchandra Medical Hospital. At least Rama had MBBS, no? So, this is the kind of perception we have been fed in the last 200 years by the British. And those textbooks are continuing. So when I say vision for India, I mean re-examining all this de novo. Look at the fund of wealth of information just now Professor Swamy presented. In a very short, brief way. In fact, he should open a Gurukul and we'll all go and attend it. It's not easy to acquire this kind of knowledge. Of course, the Americans have invented a new field called artificial intelligence. That people are born, acquire huge amount of knowledge, and then they pass away. And the knowledge goes with them. So before they pass away and after retirement, they should be able to sit before a computer and give the computer all the knowledge, and the computer will record it. Then collate it, synthesize it. A question came up in NASA, which took up this project. In which language should the computer store the thing finally? And they did research, should we invent a new language, because English was not considered a good language to store knowledge, because even the phonetics is not good. PUT, put, and BUT, but, so there's so much confusion in the English phonetics. So they researched for 20 years. And finally, in 1988, the Journal of Artificial Intelligence, which you can get by going to the Google, go to the Google, Dr. Riggs wrote an article saying that there is no need to invent a new language. There already exists one language which is perfect, both its phonetics as well as its vocabulary, and that is Sanskrit, and all of us should learn Sanskrit. So today, American government, Bush's last act as president was to announce special federal grants to any school or college teaching Sanskrit. And if you do artificial intelligence course in NASA, you have to learn Sanskrit. We have forgotten all about Sanskrit. The moment you say learn Sanskrit, oh, this is communal agenda, part of red terror, or saffron terror, excuse me, not red terror. So this is the background in which I think time has come to create a new mindset amongst our youth. And this is a preliminary conference, first conference. I really did not expect such enthusiastic response. It is almost 100%. Whoever was invited has come. And so we will now expand. And we will hold bigger and bigger conference till we have an army of people, motivated people who can then transform the thinking in the country as a whole. The country is ready for such a thing. I have myself seen. Now, why Twitter, why not everybody? No, because Twitter is a communication medium. We need a communication medium which has a multiplier effect. I can have a public meeting, then I have to ensure how they come, make sure that there is no law and order problem, put up a stage, put up microphones. Oh, how many people does it in the end reach? But Twitter has a self-generating capacity. So that's why those who are Twitter users, only them I would like to mobilize. And consequently, through the Twitter, and the Twitter has young people, professionals, educated people, people who know the subject. So this is why I think the Twitter has to be the base of the new intellectual revolution in our country, and that is why we decided to call this conference. I'm very thankful to Jagdish, his colleagues, Zoom India, what is his name, Shivaji? Shiv. I've been very active, spent a lot of their time, very high cost time, and devoted to this, to make this a success. Judging by the attendance, is a success, and slowly we'll go on widening it and expanding it. we will not only make this remaining, a kind of a greenhouse intellectual revolution. We will connect with the real world. That is why on the 4th of February in Delhi, I and my colleagues of the ACACI and Baba Ramdev will address a rally together. One of these days in the future we will get Anna Hazare also into our fold. But I have to first clean up that Naxalite group. Already, because ACACI has used existing laws to produce results, the clamor of a new law is slowly ebbing. We'll see what happens on 27th and 29th. I would say my vision of India perceives that our national security should get the first priority. Unless your country is secure, you can't do other things. You are constantly attacked, damaged, destroyed. How can you build anything on a perpetual or a continuous basis? A nation is safe when it does not have to sacrifice its legitimate interests and integrity to avoid war. You're faced with a war and you have to sacrifice your national interests, your integrity, your legitimate interests. Then you become a colony. Because you're submitting, you're capitulating. If terrorists can make you release prisoners in your country by hijacking a plane or hijacking or taking people as hostage, that means we are not safe. None of us is safe. We must be in a situation where we can ensure that without going to war, we are able to safeguard our national interests or our legitimate interests. And there should be an equal commitment that if challenged to go to war, to defend these interests, we will not hesitate to go to war. There is a terrorist attack, we are told it is from 51 camps in Azad Kashmir. What do? We tell Pakistan, please do something. And Pakistan gives us lectures. We should be able to send our Air Force to bomb these camps out of existence. Then people say, but supposing Pakistan throws an atom bomb on you? There you need a mindset. If necessary, we'll risk that too. After all, if Pakistan throws a bomb on India, maybe 50 million people will die. But we will finish Pakistan forever. There will be no Pakistan left after that. Pakistan knows this and is rational. They will not lose the bomb. Because the next step will be the extinction of Pakistan. That commitment has to be there. It can be done. I can tell you as a minister, I've seen this at the micro level. You know that when V.P. Singh was Prime Minister, his Home Minister's daughter, Rubiya, was kidnapped. And they released 5 terrorists. Our Indian Airlines was hijacked to Kandahar. Our government released 3 of the most dreaded terrorists. Muhammad Azad, who went and created the Jaish-e-Mohammed. Maulana, yes. In fact, on television, the then National Security Advisor Brijesh Mishra, told the people, what is Muhammad Azhar? He is a harmless cleric. That harmless cleric today has to his credit 3,173 innocent lives of Kashmir. And the other two also set up. One of them, of course, is in now Guantanamo. He got caught. Because of the Daniel Pearl, he was involved. So we should not be in a situation where a handful of terrorists can make you deliver what they want. When I was minister, Chandrasekhar was prime minister, there is a politician today by the name in Kashmir called Saifuddin Soz. His daughter was kidnapped. And they wanted two people who are in hospital dying to be released. And in the meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs, Chandrasekhar said, let's release them. What is this? These people are harmless people. I said, no, it's the principle that is wrong. Unfortunately, what I did to rescue the girl couldn't be made public because by the time we made it public, our government had fallen. Rajiv Gandhi had withdrawn support and elections were declared. Never made the media. But Chandrasekhar gave me 3 days to get the girl released without releasing anybody from our side. And in those 3 days, I just took 2 of those 2 days. One of them for traveling. I sent our key men to London because the organization which had kidnapped this girl was called JKLF, Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front. And I found that their office bearers are President, Vice President and Treasurer were living in London, in England. One was in Leicester, one was in Birmingham, one was in London. So we sent a team to London. We contacted the Israelis and one Israeli representative, maybe from Mossad, he accompanied our team. We went to the houses of these 3 and said, if this girl is not released in the next 24 hours, you 3 will be killed. And the Israeli told them, don't waste your time reporting this to the British police because we control the police in Britain. Within 24 hours, this girl was put on an auto rickshaw and driven to the house of Saifuddin Soz and released. Anytime anybody came, looted us, beat us up, took over our country, drained our assets, no, that's not so. It's because our rules of warfare were very strange. We did not go to war, to a battle, unless the sun has risen. And the moment the sun sets, we go back to our tent and go to have a good sleep. No other country in the world, you will find this rule of warfare. No warfare can take place, that was our rule, in the city, in population centers or in the agricultural fields. It has to be in the open Maidan, like Kurukshetra. Even when Ravan had to challenge Ram, he had to come out of his fort. He couldn't say, no, you come inside, I'll teach you a lesson. He came out in an open battle in the Maidan. And third, after losing, if you say, I'm sorry, everything is returned to you and you are given a goodbye. That's what Prithviraj Chauhan did with Muhammad Ghori. How many times? 16 times. 2 was enough. Why 16? In fact, the terrorists we should even give 2, not even 1. Catch them, kill them. Not putting them in jail and giving them chicken tandoori. And that's not only with Kasab, it's happening with the killers of Rajiv Gandhi. I don't know why this country only talks about Kasab. or that guru, whatever, that parliament, Afzal Guru. What about all this Nalini and that Parivalan and Murugan? And there Murugan is also a foreigner, he is a Sri Lankan LTT. But his own widow, Rajiv Gandhi's own widow says, no, let them go. This is unacceptable. So I would say, therefore, the mindset, first and foremost, my vision is an Indian. It says when Indian interests are involved, I am ready for any sacrifice. Not that I will come out in the street demonstrating. In fact, in the Kandahar thing, there was demonstration. It was, according to me, organized by the Congress party at that time. The government should have known that. And they came out in the streets and said, let go, let go, let go. Save our family. I think it's better that we put in this Indian Airlines ticket, you are traveling at your own risk. If hijacked, we are not responsible for you. And then, of course, fight for rescuing them. But then you should rescue them in such a way that these terrorists are finished off and killed off. So I would say this is the first thing. The second thing is that we have now got into this groove that the British built for us in the educational system of only going for cognitive development of our cognitive intelligence. Physics, mathematics, software, engineering, IIMs. You know, this is what we say is development for cognitive intelligence, which is popularly called IQ. But our rishis have known, and now the West is developing the same concept as if it is their own. Intelligence is a multi-dimensional concept. Cognitive intelligence is only one part of it. Emotional intelligence, as the West now calls it. How to speak, how to relate to the other person, how to use idiom which he understands, and how to minimize the reaction from him to what you say. This is called emotional intelligence. Third is called social intelligence. A concern that your actions will produce maximum social good. Keeping social interests in mind while pursuing your personal interests. You can pursue interests, but not at the cost of social interests. If you are corrupt, you are pursuing your personal interest of acquiring wealth, but it is at the cost of the nation. Then the fourth is moral intelligence. That you do not do anything which is morally wrong, which of course your religion will teach you. And finally, spiritual intelligence, which Professor Swamy can teach. And that is, according to our rishis, knowledge is in the cosmos. If by meditation, by concentration, you can develop a neural Wi-Fi and connect to that cosmos, then the entire fund of knowledge will come for you. That's how geniuses are born. Genius is not that he studies more and studies more, sleeps less and so on. No. It is this capacity to concentrate and connect yourself with the cosmos. That's called spiritual intelligence. We have one more intelligence which the West is just recently finding out, which is Professor Ramaswamy mentioned, that is called environmental intelligence. That you must do while nourishing Mother Earth. So these are the kinds of things that have been taught. They are not taught in our education system today. But we have to do it. Probably in a future conference we will work out a course outline. Maybe we'll have it for 3-4 days in some nice place like Himachal or maybe in Kodaikanal or some place like that, where we are away for 3 years, 3 days from there, and have a proper course structured conference. But we need to think in these new terms. Another vision I have is clarity about what we are. We are Indians, but it means what? I have an Indian passport. That's not enough. I am an Indian because all that has happened in this country is mine and I am a part of it. To link yourself to the true history of India. All this nonsense now that is going on about Aryans, Dravidians, these are all British. The word Dravidian was first uttered by Adi Shankara when he was debating Mandana Mishra. And he said, I am Dravida Shishu. And he explained Dravida means where Tra and Vid, where the three oceans meet or the three coastlines meet. South India. It has nothing to do with Brahmins and non-Brahmins as Karunanidhi has made out, these Dravidian movement people have made out. If Dravidian meant non-Brahmin, then how is Rahul Dravid called Dravid? He, by the traditional modern definition, is a Brahmin. So I would say that we have to have a concept of identity. And identity means two things. One is called salience, S-A-L-I-E-N-C-E, which means placing national aspirations as a veto on all other aspirations, including regional aspirations. Recently, the Tamil Nadu Assembly passed a resolution saying that the killers of Rajiv Gandhi should be forgiven, keeping Tamil sentiment in mind. What about a national sentiment? A man who has been Prime Minister of a country is killed by a bunch of people because they don't like his policy. And that policy, by the way, was adopted by Parliament. It was not Rajiv Gandhi's policy. These people say, maybe there was some other reason which I am not in a position to tell you just now. But the reason given officially is that Rajiv Gandhi sent IPKF to Sri Lanka, and therefore we have to teach him a lesson. This is what they said in the Supreme Court. How can we allow that? Foreigners dictating that you can kill anybody in India because they don't like your policy. So this consciousness must be there. If there is a clash between national interests and Gujarati interests, national interest shall prevail. If there is a clash between national interest and Tamil interests, then national interest shall prevail. I am Indian first, then only Gujarati, Marathi, Tamil, etc. And this is called salience in your identity. When you have this thing in your mind, then you have, okay, this is, I am an Indian because there are Indian interests and I place them above all other interests. The second is called substance. And substance means what distinguishes me from others. I am an Indian, what distinguishes me from others? Am I, as a North Indian, distinguished from a South Indian? No. Because of the DNA studies that have come out now. Science has changed many things. You know, the Englishmen used to make fun of us Hindus praying and taking the name of Saraswati. In Vedas, Saraswati's name, the river name, comes more often than Ganga, by the way. And they used to say, where is this Saraswati? But thanks to this modern technology, this imaging, satellite imaging, we have located Saraswati and we have dug up, and one of our colleagues who couldn't come here because of health reasons, Dr. Kalyan Raman, he has set up a research institute called Saraswati Research Institute. Done enormous amount of work on the rivers. Now you can see Saraswati River going through Rajasthan and going through Gujarat into the Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea. So Saraswati River was there underground, and it was satellite imaging that brought it down. Englishmen used to make fun of Dwarka as a mythology. Where is Dwarka? The Purana says that Dwarka sunk into the ocean. Now they have, but 15 years ago they found out, the Archaeological Survey of India, that Dwarka is below the ocean. Now there's a national project to take it up, bring it up bits by bit and create a museum of Dwarka city. The same way, Aryan Dravidians, two different races. One came from across the Khyber Pass, the other was here, and then they were driven to the south. Look at the skin color different. How can skin color be race? It is not there in any anthropological studies. Skin color has got to do with pigmentation. The closer you are to the sun, the closer you are to the equator, the more often you roam around in the sun, your skin color will change. And we have done it for centuries. It becomes from birth to birth. And that's what happened to Michael Jackson. One day he went to the plastic surgeon and said, take out my pigmentation. And he took out his pigmentation and he began looking like a white man. I mean, the skin was at least became European color. So pigmentation is nothing to distinguish Indians. But DNA can distinguish Indians. And whoever says we are different, I will say, prove to me. I've asked Muslims, what is your DNA? Is it different from Indians? No. Christians, no. Even Raj Thakre, once I secretly got a sample of his hair, which also has DNA capacity. And I got one taxi driver, paid him 5 rupees and took a sample. And I tested it and both had the same DNA. And I made this statement publicly that Raj Thakre actually migrated from UP because his DNA is the same as the taxi driver. And if he doesn't agree, please ask him to come on the stage. I've got a mobile unit for DNA testing, and in front of everybody I'll cut his hair and a taxi man's hair and show that it's the same. This Englishman somehow is deeply fed into our brain that we are different people. We are one people. What distinguishes us from the rest of the world is our long civilization, which the Muslims and Christians can also claim, like the recent Sufi Sunni conference that took place. I think
Kashmiri.
Kashmiri. Yes, they are all Barelvi Muslims. Sufis, Shias, Ahmadiyas, Bohras, all these Muslims, they say we have descended from Hindus. Only this Wahhabi Muslim, Saudi Arabia, he says no, we came from outside. Means what? Gorian Ghazni? And that means what? We have already agreed that those Muslims who don't want to identify with Hindus, don't want to live with Hindus. We carved out a part of India and gave it to them. 1/3 of India went to them. Now you cannot say that we are different, because we have already done. For those who consider themselves different, we have divided. So I think we have to therefore assert this oneness. My vision is that everyone says I'm an Indian and everyone says my ancestors are Hindus. If he has any doubt, he has to go to a DNA laboratory and check whether it is so or not. National Geographic is doing it free, so you can write to National Geographic and then we send you your DNA structure. So I think therefore this is another important thing. I would say that my vision also sees all of us slowly, gradually bringing back Sanskrit as the language of communication. All Indian languages have Sanskrit vocabulary. There was one professor in Madras University who told me he was a pakka one of these Dravidian types. Dravidian means Dravidian movement types. PK as it's called in Tamil Nadu. Who told me, no, Tamil is a different language. I said, your university under your chairmanship has produced a dictionary of English to Tamil dictionary. Let's take it out and count which word, how many words are Sanskrit origin. I saw Anubhavam there, Acharyam there, Kirti there, Nidhi there, Karuna there. And you ask me, DMK, what is your, what do you call your election symbol? You'll say Chinnam. Sanskrit is Chin. And what is that Chinnam? Udayan Suryan. Pure Sanskrit.
His grandson is Aditya.
And Kanimuri's son is called Aditya. Dayalu. So, in Tamil, a conscious attempt was made to remove Sanskrit words. Even today, the Dravidian movement produced dictionary shows 42% of the words come from Sanskrit. Of course, Karunanidhi one day told me, no, this Sanskrit stole these words from Tamil. At least it's common. Malayalam is much more, Kannada is much more, Bengali is maximum. So vocabulary is common. If everybody learns his own script and Devanagari is not Hindi. Devanagari is used by Nepali, it is used by Marathi, it is used by Sanskrit, it is used by Hindi. It's the most scientific script ever produced. So we learn two scripts, one our own and the other, and they are very similar. Take Tamil, you put ka like that, and you want ki, you just put a matra. Exactly the same thing in Devanagari. Ka is like that, little different. You put a matra. Or ku is also the same way. So our commonness has been slowly attempted to be made to be differentiated, and there is none. So I think this is another thing. My vision would be that I may not know Sanskrit, but my children should know Sanskrit. If my children don't know, are too big, then my grandchildren will go to school. And Sanskrit now can be learned in a very easy way through these new tapes that have started coming. Even the Ministry of Human Resources is producing. That is before Kapil Sibal became minister. They produced a program for learning Sanskrit. Encourage people to learn Sanskrit. And slowly, that is another unifying factor. So I would say, we have many things to do. We will certainly, Professor Vaidyanathan will be speaking to you about corruption. We can easily get a corruption-free society if we go back to our values. You see, this Julia Roberts, who is a famous Hollywood actress, got many Oscars and all that, very rich lady. She once came for shooting to Haryana, maybe 2 years ago only. And she expressed a desire to go and see one of these ashrams. And the people in the set took her. And the Swamiji asked her, what is your problem? She said, I have made so much money, but I am not happy. What shall I do? So he then put her through, he said, stay 1 week here. He put her through a course of pranayam and yoga, and then taught her Bhagavad Gita and so on. She went back and held a press conference and declared that today onwards I have become a Hindu. Because for the first time I feel happy. And you can see this in your ashram. You see Sri Sri Ravi Shankar's ashram? How many foreigners are there? They are all rich people, well-to-do people. See Swami Dayanand Saraswati's ashram, Baba Ramdev, Asaram Bapu. You see foreigners flooding the place. Why is it? I mean, these are not people. I remember when I was a student, I joined to get my PhD at Harvard. My classmate asked me, "Can I ask you one question?" I said, "What? Why you people followed Mahatma Gandhi?" I said, "Why not?" So he said, "He's not even properly dressed. How can you follow such a leader?" He said, "In your country?" He said, "In our country he must be suited, booted, and must have shining shoes. Then only we'll accept him as leader." Then after we are spirit, say by action they were Brahmin, by the best software from 1 to 5 is called SCICMM grading. We have got grade 5, that's the highest, for 36 companies of our country. How many of the Americans got in their own country? 15 only. How many of the Chinese got? Just 1. That too last year. So where the Indian is allowed to flourish, he produces the best, because this has been our tradition. We invented the mathematics, we invented the sciences. So all put together, the most important thing today for preparing for what is coming is a new mindset. And this mindset should be informed by the true history of our country, by our knowledge of our past and our determination to defend, no matter what the cost, the legitimate interests of the country. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.